Children, today we are going to discuss few properties of definite integrals, and we are going to use these properties to solve the sums of definite integrals, right? So let's see the property 1. The property 1 says integration of a to b fx dx can be written as integration of a to b ft dt. That means if we change the variable of the expression of the integrand, that will not affect the result. Let's see how. So if this is our integration a to b fx dx, what we'll do, we'll change the variable. Let x equals to t. So we know that if x equals to a, then t will be a. If x equals to b, then t will be b. So if we differentiate this x equals to t with respect to x, we'll get dx equals to dt. That means ft will be integration of a to b ft dt. So we have proved that integration of a to b fx dx equals to integration of a to b ft dt. If we change the variable, it will not affect the result. Let's see another property. Second property, integration of a to b fx dx equals to minus of integration of b to a fx dx. That means if we change the limit, that lower limit, interchange the lower limit and upper limit, the integrand will become minus. It will be minus times of b to a fx dx. Let's see how. If we are doing the integration of fx dx with lower limit a, upper limit b, the integral that we'll get is fb minus fa. Now if we take minus sign common from here, what we'll get inside the bracket? Fa minus fb. Now this fa minus fb, you can see a has become the upper limit and b has become the lower limit now. So this can be written as integration of b to a fx dx. So the integration of a to b fx dx can be written as minus times of integration of b to a fx dx. Alright children, please note down. Let's see another property children. Now here in the third property it is given that integration of a to b fx dx is equal to integration of c fx dx plus integration of c to b fx dx, where c lies in between a and b. Let's see how we can write this integral in form of a to c fx dx plus c to b fx dx. If it is written integration of a to b fx dx, that means it will be fb minus fa. Integral f upper limit, antiderivative upper limit minus antiderivative of lower limit. Now if c is greater than a and the integration of a to c fx dx, in the same way we can write is f integral of c minus integral of at a, or integration of c to b fx dx in the same way can be represented as integral of b minus integral of c at c. Now if we add these two expressions, now you can see that this plus c and minus c will get cancelled. When these two terms will get cancelled, that means we can write as integration of a to c fx dx plus integration of c to b fx dx. It will be fb minus fa, antiderivative of b minus antiderivative of a, and we know that the antiderivative b minus antiderivative of a is integration of a to b fx dx. So in place of this we can write integration of a to b fx dx. So we have proved that these two sides are equal when c lies in between a and b. Alright children. Note down the third property please. Okay children, now let's see another property. Property 4. Here it is given that integration of a to b fx dx can be represented as integration of a to b f a plus b minus x dx. Let's see how. We are solving the right hand side and try to prove it equals to left hand side. So what we'll do, let a plus b minus t is equals to x. A plus b minus t equals to x. So when we do that, now if we change the limit, if x equals to a, if we put x equals to a here, this a and a will get cancelled, the value of t will be b. If x equals to b, then the value of t will be a. And if we differentiate this expression both sides, we'll get dx equals to minus dt. Alright children. So the right hand side is a to b f a plus b minus x dx. When converted in terms of t, it will become minus of b to a f t dt. Now this minus sign can be removed by interchanging the limit, right? Second property. So what we'll do when we interchange the limit, b to a will become a to b minus of a to b, and this minus minus will become plus. So it will be integration of a to b ft dt. Now we can change the variable if it will not affect the result. So t can be replaced from x. So it will be a to b fx dx. Now we got the result. This is the left hand side. We can say that a to b fx dx can be written as integration of a to b f a plus b minus x dx. Alright children, please note down. Okay children, let's see another property. Property 5. In this property, it is given that 0 to a fx dx equals to 0 to a f a minus x dx. Again, we will be solving right hand side and try to prove it to left hand side. 0 to a f a minus x dx. So what we'll do first, let a minus x equals to t. If x equals to a, then t equals, if x equals to 0, then t equals to a. If x equals to a, then t equals to 0. Okay. We have got the limit from x to t. Now if we differentiate this expression with respect to x, we'll get dx equals to minus dt. Alright. Now see here, when we replace this term from t, the limit will be minus of dx equals to minus dt. Limit will change from a to 0, ft dt. Right. Now again, property 2 we are using and interchanging the limit, minus sign will come out and this minus minus will become plus. So it will become 0 to a ft dt. Right. Again, using first property, we can say that 0 to a ft dt can be written as 0 to a fx dx. So we have proved that this is the left hand side. 0 to a fx dx equals to 0 to a f a minus x dx. Alright children, please note down. Okay children, let's discuss the next property. In this property, it is given that 0 to a fx dx equals to 0 to a fx dx plus 0 to a f2a minus x dx. That means if it is written 0 to 2a fx dx, then we can represent this in terms of two integrations, 0 to a fx dx plus 0 to a f2a minus x dx. Okay. Now, if we break this integration in two parts, 0 to a fx dx, this can be written by using property 3, 0 to a fx dx plus a to 2a fx dx. We know that a is lying in between 0 and 2a. Okay. So this integration can be written into these two integrations. Now let's see this term. 0 to a to 2a fx dx, integration of a to 2a fx dx. Now what we'll do here, we'll assume that let x equals to 2a minus t. Let x equals to 2a minus t. Now the lower limit is a, so if we put x equals to a here, the value of t will be also a. If you put a here, transfer a that side, 2a minus a will be a. T transfer that side, the value of t will be a. If we put x equals to 2a, so this 2a cancel, the t value of t will be 0. Right. And if we differentiate this expression with respect to x, the value of dx will be minus dt. Alright. So this term can be represented as minus of a to 0 f2a minus t dt. Okay. Now again, when we interchange the limit, the minus sign will come outside. So this minus, that minus will become plus, minus into minus plus. So the limit will be 0 to a f to a minus t dt. Now by property first, we can change the variable. In terms of, in place of t, we can write x. So 0 to a f to a minus x dx. That means the integration of 0 is a to 2a fx dx can be written as 0 to a f to a minus x dx. That means when we replace this term here from this term, what we'll get? 0 to 2a fx dx equals to 0 to a fx dx plus 0 to a f to a minus x dx. Alright children, please note down. Okay children, let's see another property. This property says 0 to 2a fx dx is equals to 2 times of 0 to a fx dx if f to a minus x equals to fx. And the value of this integration will be 0 if f of 2a minus x equals to minus times of fx. Okay children, let's see how. 0 to 2a fx dx we have discussed earlier in the previous property, that 0 to a fx dx and 0 to a f to a minus x dx. Now in this property, if you put f to a minus x equals to plus fx, then these two terms will get add and the result will be 2 times of 0 to a fx dx. And if we put f of 2a minus x equals to minus fx, then 0 to 2a fx dx will become 0 to a fx dx minus of 0 to a fx dx. So these two terms will get cancelled and the result will be 0. Alright children, note down please. Okay children, let's see another property. This is property 8. It states that integration of minus a to a fx dx has two solutions. It can be represented as 2 times of 0 to a fx dx if fx is an even function, and the value of this integration will be 0 if fx is an odd function. Now let's understand what is even and odd function. If we put minus x in place of fx, in place of x if we put minus x, and the result will be again the same function. That means if f of minus x equals to f of x, then fx is an even function. And if f of minus x equals to minus of fx, then fx is an odd function. Like cos x is an even function and sin x is an odd function. Sin x, tan x are the odd function, right? So let's solve further. Integration of minus a to a fx dx by property 3, 0 is in between minus a to a, we can write as, break these integrals as minus a to 0 fx dx plus 0 to a fx dx. Alright, now let's see this one, this first integration. Minus a to 0 fx dx. If we put x equals to minus t, and when x equals to minus a, then the value of t will be a. Minus minus will get cancelled, and if x equals to 0, then the value of t will be 0. That means the limit will change from a to 0. And if we differentiate this expression with respect to x, then we'll get dx equals to minus dt. Dx equals to minus dt, right? So it will be minus times of the a to 0 f of minus t, and in place of dx I have written minus dt, right? So this minus is in place of dx, minus dt. Now when we interchange the limit, again minus sign will come out, that minus and this minus will become minus into minus plus. So it will be 0 to a f of minus t dt. Again property 1 we are using, and in place of t I am writing x. So it will be 0 to a f of minus x dx. Alright. Now we know that we have break this integration in terms of 0 minus a to a fx dx equals to minus a to 0 fx dx plus 0 to a fx dx. So when we write this in place of this term as 0 to a f of minus x dx, and when the function is even, so this f of minus x will become fx. So both will get sum up and we'll get 2 times of 0 to a fx dx. And when we get minus times of fx dx, so this minus 0 to a fx dx and plus 0 to a fx dx will get cancelled and we'll get 0. Alright children, please note down. Okay children, let's see few sums so that we can understand the topic more clearly. Now here it is given that in this sum, integration of 0 to 3 mod of x minus 2 dx. Now children, we know that the value of x when less than 2, the value of x minus 2 will be negative, and the value of x when greater than 2, it will be positive, and at 2 the mod of x minus 2 will be 0. So from here we can we have written by using the property integration of 0 to 2 mod of x minus 2 dx plus integration of 2 to 3 mod of x minus 2 dx. Now when the value of 2 is less than when the value of x is less than 2, the value of mod of x minus 2 will be negative. That means it will become minus of integration of 0 to 2 bracket x minus 2 dx, plus this will be positive when x is greater than 2. So integration of 2 to 3 plus x minus 2 dx. So when we integrate x minus 2, we will get x square upon 2 minus 2x, limit 0 to 2. When we integrate this term, again we get the same, x square by 2 minus 2x, 2 to 3 is the limit. So when we put the upper limit minus lower limit, we'll get 4 upon 2, that will be 2 minus 4, or this will become 0. So here when we put 3 in place of x, we'll get 9 by 2 minus 6. When we put 2, we'll get minus 2 plus 4, because upper limit minus lower limit, when we do, the sign will change. On taking LCM here in this term, we'll get 1 by 2 Here we'll get minus 2, minus of minus 2 will be 2. So 2 plus 1 by 2 will be 5 by 2. That will be the answer. Alright, let's see another sum. Now here we have to integrate greatest integer function when the limit is 0 to 1.5, right? So we know that in greatest integer function is a discontinuous, will be discontinuous at x equals to 1. Greatest integer function is discontinuous at whole numbers, okay, whole integers rather. So 0 to 1, a greatest integer function dx. So I've written the using property 0 to 1 because it is discontinuous at x equals to 1. So let's write that 0 to 1 greatest integer function x dx plus 1 to 1.5 greatest integer function x dx. Now for this, between the value of x 0 and 1, the value of greatest integer function x will be 0, okay, and between the value of x between 1 and 1.5, the greatest integer function, the value of greatest integer function will be 1. So the integration of 1 will be x 0 1 2 3 by 2, this will become 0. So 3 by 2 minus 1, it will be 1 by 2 or 0.5. Alright, please note down the solution. Let's see another sum. Here it is given that integration of minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 sine to the power 5x dx. So we have studied this property, the last property, integration of minus a to a fx dx equals to 2 times of 0 to a fx dx if fx is even function. And the value of this integration will be 0 if fx is an odd function. So let's find out whether fx is even function or odd function. So let's see, we have assumed that fx equals to sine to the power 5x. So if f of minus x will be sine to the power 5 minus x. So sine of minus theta is minus sine theta, and minus to the power 5 will become minus. So it will be minus sine to the power 5x. So that is sine to the power 5x is fx. So it will be minus fx. So when fx equals to minus fx, then fx is an odd function. Therefore directly the value will become 0. Alright, please note down. Let's see another sum, children. Here it is given 0 to pi by 2 log tan x dx. So we have studied this property 0 to 2a fx dx equals to 2 times of 0 to a fx dx if f of 2a minus x equals to fx, and the value of this integration will be 0 if f of 2a minus x equals to minus of fx. Alright, so let's find out whether log tan x is okay, log tan x if fx, then what is the value of f2a minus x? So the value of 2a here is pi by 2. The value of 2a is pi by 2 and the value of a is pi by 4. So I have written like 0 to 2 into pi by 4 log tan x dx, and assume fx equals to log tan x. So when we do f2a minus x, it will be log tan pi by 2 minus x. Log 90 minus theta is what? Cot theta, right? So tan pi by 2 minus x will be cot x. Cot x can be written as 1 upon tan x, and this tan x will go transfer into the numerator. It will become tan x to the power minus 1. Log m to the power n, it will be n log m. So minus 1 will come here in front. It will become minus log tan x. So log tan x is fx. It will be minus fx. So when fx is minus fx, f2a minus x equals to minus fx, the value of the integration will be 0. So directly we can write as 0 to pi by 2 log tan x dx equals to 0. Alright, note down please. Let's see another sum, children. Here we have to integrate 0 to pi by 2 root sin x upon root sin x plus cos x. So what we have done, we have assumed that this whole integral has I, okay, and applying the property 0 to a fx dx equals to 0 to a f a minus x dx, right? So when we do that, the value of I will become 0 to pi by 2 sin pi by 2 minus x upon under root sin pi by 2 minus x plus under root cos pi by 2 minus x. So the value of I now obtained by using property will be 0 to pi by 2 root cos x. Sin 90 minus theta is cos theta. So root cos x upon root cos x plus sin x. So I have assumed this condition as 1 and this one as second. So what we'll do, we are adding 1 and 2. So on the left hand side we'll get 2i. On the right hand side we'll get sin x plus cos x upon sin x plus cos x after taking the LCM of these two fractions. So these two numerator and denominator will get cancelled. We'll get 1 here. 0 to pi by 2 of 1. Integration of 1 will be x. So when we put the upper limit and lower limit, we'll get the value of 2i as pi by 2. So cross multiplying 2 here, the value of I obtained will be pi by 4. Alright children, note down the solution please. Now let's see another sum. We have to find the value of 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. We have to evaluate this integration. So let assume this term as I. Let I equals to 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. So on applying the property, we can say that integration of 0 to pi by 2 log cos pi by 2 minus x, right? 0 to a f x dx equals to 0 to a f a minus x dx. That property we have applied here. So it will become cos 90 minus x. Cos 90 minus theta is sin theta. So it will become 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. Alright children. So suppose this is first condition, this is second condition, adding 1 and 2. Then we'll get the value of 2i as 0 to pi by 2 log sin x plus log cos x dx. Now log m plus log n, so it will become log m into n. So log sin x into cos x dx will become. Applying 2 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator. So 2 sin x cos x will become sin 2x. So it will be log 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x upon 2 dx. Now log m upon n, it will be log m minus n. So 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx minus 0 to pi by 2 log 2 dx. Let's take this term and try to simplify the value of this from, and then put the value, simplified value, and then solve. So now we are solving 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx. The first thing that we are doing is assuming let 2x equals to t. So when 2x equals to t, when changing the limit, when x equals to 0, the value of t will be 0. X is pi by 2, then the value of t will be pi. On differentiating with respect to x, it will become dx equals to 1 by 2 dt. Right? So when we substitute the value of 2x as t here, it will become 0 to pi 1 by 2, 0 to pi, dx is 1 by 2 dt. So in place of dx, we'll write 1 by 2, 1 by 2 is constant, will come out, 1 by 2 dt in place of dx, and limit will change to 0 to pi log sin t. From the first property, it can be written as 1 by 2, 0 to pi log sin x dx. Alright, note down this much, then we'll proceed further. Now 1 by 2, 0 to pi can be written as 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. Now by using the property 0 to f of 2a minus x dx. If f of 2a minus x dx equals to fx, then what we'll get? We'll get 2 times of 0 to a fx dx. Okay? 0 to 2a fx dx equals to 2 times of 0 to a fx dx if f of 2a minus x equals to fx. This is the property that we have studied. So now let's see, log of sine 2a is pi. Log of sine 2a which is pi minus x. So sine 180 minus theta is sine theta. Log sine x, that is fx. So that means f of 2a minus x equals to fx. So the result will be 2 times of 0 to a fx dx. So 2 will come out, 0 to pi by 2 log sine x dx. So this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. 0 to pi by 2 log sine x dx can be written as I, because we, after applying the property in the first second step, 0 to pi by 2 log cos x can be written as 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. Okay, so it will be I. Now finally we have got the value of 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx as I. Now substitute the value of this term here. 2i equals to I minus log 2 integration of 0 to pi by 2 1 dx. It will be x 0 to pi by 2. This I will transfer that side. It will become 2i minus I, and pi by 2 minus 0, it will be minus pi by 2 log 2. So the value of I, or 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx, will be minus pi by 2 log 2. Alright children, please note down.